And but I've lived in Las Vegas for more than 33 years, so I kind of am the history of Las Vegas. Been here a long, long time. And just a little bit of background on myself. I wrote The Art of the Business Lunch. I was in outside sales, and I've been on more than 3,000 client lunches. I saw my sales increase by more than 2,000%. And it was my dream to write a book, which I did. And I'm thrilled to say that it's been sold in 10 languages worldwide, including Greek, Estonian. You can see it in Russian, Korean, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Italian. And so it's really been a pleasure and a thrill to be able to have this book. And I became a professional speaker, and I got involved in the power of mentorship as well. But I wanted to share a passage from my book that focuses on the history of Las Vegas. Because I've been here for so long, we used to have, if you wanted to eat, you went to a hotel coffee shop for lunch, and if you wanted a nice dinner, you went to the House of Lords Steakhouse. Those were our choices. You've been here a while, right? That was it. And in the book I wrote, I am very fortunate to live in Las Vegas as it's become a diner's paradise. We thought we were lucky when we got a TGI Fridays back in the 80s. Now the city boasts some of the world's greatest restaurants. We have spectacular views, contemporary themes, and incredible food. Not all of these restaurants are open for lunch, but there are still many wonderful places to choose from. But every city across the country has its secret hideaways, fabulous delicatessens, Italian restaurants with checkered tablecloths, and other great options to help you accomplish your business lunch objectives. Get to know the choices and become an expert. Make sure if a new restaurant opens in your city, you're one of the first people to experience it. So like I said, we're amazingly fortunate in Las Vegas now to have, I left my remote, to have so many choices for our dining. And it's because of the growth of the city. When I moved here, well, we'll talk about this. I also am the president of the Las Vegas Convention Speakers Bureau. Because I build relationships, I've been fortunate enough to come in contact with many outstanding professional speakers. Steve Sanagati, Marie Diamond from The Secret, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, you might recognize. Can we turn the lights down just a little bit so the PowerPoint shows better? Thank you. And John Alston, Marcia Weeder, Tony Alessandra. And it's really been a pleasure for me to grow up in Las Vegas and to see this. And since we're such a huge convention capital, it's wonderful that we have so many meetings here, and I love to help. If I'm not right for an event, then it's wonderful that I can go ahead and help someone else with the speakers they need. Thank you, Glenn. This is the Little Church of the West. It used to sit right where the Fashion Show Mall is now, and I was married in the Little Church of the West. So was my mother, so was my sister, and many famous people. And when they built the Fashion Show Mall, they actually hoisted it up. It's an historic landmark, and they moved it, and now it's across the street from the Mandalay Bay. A lot of people think that Las Vegas is the wedding capital of the world. It's not. We're actually overshadowed by Istanbul. We hosted 120,000 weddings last year. Istanbul had 166,000. This is a picture of Las Vegas City Hall. This is where I got my divorce. The divorce rate in Las Vegas and Nevada is higher than the national average. It's 15%. Reno is known as the divorce capital, but it's really throughout the state. I think that's where my sister got her divorce, too. This is what the city looked like. Not quite when I got here, because I can tell this photo was taken in 1991. You know how I can tell? The Mirage, exactly. It went up in 91. You can see it in the back there. Also, the Imperial Palace didn't build right out to the Strip at that point. 91. The Mirage, not 89? Okay. Sorry. And this was the old Hallelujah Hollywood at the old MGM, and you can see the Dune sign, classic old Vegas. But a lot of people don't understand that there were originally Native Americans here, several tribes that occupied the area, the Paiute, the Shoshone, the Washoe, and we still have names around the state that reflect that original ancestry as far back as 10,000 years ago. But what really kind of put Las Vegas on the map was a combination of a bunch of different things and three key people that I'm going to mention. The old Spanish Trail went from Albuquerque to Los Angeles. You can see it came up through Nevada. It was discovered when they found water. Las Vegas means the meadows. Rafael Rivera was an old explorer who came through here, and he sent a scout out who discovered water. And because of that, they were able to route the Spanish Trail, the old Spanish Trail, through here. The Mormon missionaries came here as well in 1855, and they tried to settle. That's the old Las Vegas fort. What happened, though, was they absolutely hated it, and after 3 years, they told the church in Salt Lake City, send us home. We hate it here. It was so primitive. There was nothing. Can you imagine? No air conditioning, no casinos, no buffets, nothing. It was rough back then. So, and the Pony Express, which is really a part of our history, and I'm just glancing over some of these older facts, but it was really only around for 18 months, and there were only 183 riders, and they came right through Las Vegas carrying the mail. And what put them out of business but the railroads? In 1859, there was the rush to Comstock. The Comstock lode was the single greatest mineral strike in the history of the world. And a lot of people don't realize they found gold in Nevada as well, but it wasn't until they found silver. And this really is less of Las Vegas, a little more in the state history, how we came to be known as the Silver State. We had 17,000 miners coming to Virginia City. Has anyone here ever been up to Virginia City? It's a big tourist trap now. It's not anything at all like an authentic Western town. They used to shoot movies up there. Now they shoot them in Hollywood. Looks more accurate. And can you imagine? They did the old Spanish Trail, the movie with John Wayne, and Roy Rogers. John Wayne did a movie up here, and they had above-ground nuclear testing at the time, and everyone who was on the movie, Susan Hayward, they've all passed away from cancer. So thank goodness they switched to below-ground nuclear testing. Has anyone ever ridden in a stagecoach? It's comfy, huh? Just like a Cadillac. It's horrible. Or on the buckboard of a Conestoga, a covered wagon. I just can't even imagine what it was like to come out here. And I know they didn't have a lot to compare it to, but it was a lot more civilized back east. So God bless our pioneers for coming out here. And the timeline is kind of like this. In 1904, the San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake Railroad laid its tracks through the Las Vegas Valley, but there weren't really residents until they sold 700 lots, which brought a few thousand residents. They had some old saloons. It still looks a lot like Fremont Street. And in 1928, the government appropriated $165 million for the Boulder Canyon project, which became the Hoover Dam. Can you imagine $165 million? You couldn't even expand your convention space today at that price, and they came in ahead of time and under budget. That's history, huh? But the depression-weary job seekers came here and helped to build the dam, and the dam was such a huge influence in getting people here. If you can imagine how hard times were back then, I mean, I know every moment that we've really got it made, but this was really a tough existence. A lot of men lost their lives building the dam. It's just been incredible. And it opened, and you can see how absolutely beautiful it is. And I remember when I moved here, this wall, have you all stood at the wall? You've gone down to see the dam? Okay, it's really low. I mean, they protect us. The government now protects us like a bunch of idiots. We have glass walls and chain link fences and everything so we don't hurt ourselves. That wall gives me the willies because it's like below your waistline. It would be so easy. And I remember when I moved here, shortly after I'd moved here in '74, there was a story about a couple, a newlywed couple, and I just found this picture. It reminded me of the story. That you're nodding. You know this story. The guy said to his wife, they were on their honeymoon, and he said, "Here, honey, take my picture." Hands her the camera. Went over. He was going to sit up on the wall, and she walked away with the camera and turned around to take his picture, and he was gone. Some short honeymoon, right? And what happens is when you lean over that wall and you look, you get terrible vertigo, even if you don't normally. But he tumbled over. He probably sat up there and looked over. Whoa, that was it. So really unbelievable, the history of the dam. And also the gaming had a lot to do with that. In 1931, the governor of Nevada approved a wide open gambling bill. that was introduced by Assemblyman Phil Tobin. And for those of you who live here, you know that the Tobin family is still very prominent in Las Vegas. They own several car dealerships, and they're very active politically to this day.